Hi guys, Aaron here from Intune Music, and today we're gonna learn how to sound innocent. Okay, so what do I mean by that? What do I mean by sounding innocent? So I'm not sure whether you noticed the tone of voice that I was using, but it was something like this. E, ah, ooh. If I were to talk using this tone, this is what you would hear. Hi everyone, my name is Aaron and I'm gonna teach you how to sing. La 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 la. I'm not sure whether you'll be convinced by that if you were to hear someone talk to you like that. I'm not sure whether you would think that this person has much power in his voice. This person has much emotion in his voice. So if I were to sing with this sound, what would you hear? So you would basically hear me hitting all the pitches, but you would hear a very airy sound, a very relaxed sound, and it doesn't sound very emotional. It doesn't really sound as though I'm really singing. That's one of the characteristics of this sound, which is what we call falsetto. But strictly speaking, we would refer to it as stiff vocal folds. So stiff vocal folds is what happens when the vocal folds don't even come into contact with each other, and you hear a lot of breath noise that comes out. So that's why you hear the e, ah, ooh. Instead of hearing a very solid sound like if we were to use thick vocal folds, e, ah, ooh. So that's a very solid sound, and it's something that I talked about in my previous video. So if you haven't watched my previous video, go and watch it so that you can understand what I'm talking about. So if I were to bring the pitch even higher and I were to add some things to it, you might sound familiar. La 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 la, la 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 la, Elmo song.
This is the song, la 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 la, Elmo song. La 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 la, la 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 la, Elmo song.
I like it.
So using stiff vocal folds or falsetto for this kind of a sound, it sounds cuter and it sounds more like a cartoon character. For today's video on stiff vocal folds, how do we do the stiff vocal fold sound? You can think of just being very relaxed and just allowing a lot of air to come out in your voice. So just saying, hey, but in a very loose and airy way. Hey. So for guys, you can't do it low in the range. You can't say, hey. It's a bit more difficult. Use something that's higher up in your range. So go up in pitch and say, hey, hey. Or you can think of talking like a girl, maybe, because sometimes that gets that falsetto sound to come out. So just think of saying hey, but as a young girl, or like a little kid. So that's one way of getting stiff vocal folds or falsetto sound. Okay, so if I were to take the stiff vocal folds all the way up, this is how it will sound like. It probably likes to go up in pitch, but if I were to take the stiff vocal folds all the way down, you will find that I start to lose sound as I go lower. So stiff vocal folds are pretty much like thin vocal folds. They like to be up higher in pitch. So when do we actually use this stiff vocal fold or falsetto sound? Certain classic songs, for example, Angel by Sarah McLachlan, so she sings it like this.
In the arms of the angel, fly away from here.
So it's like, fly away, fly away. So this is when we sort of flip to the stiff vocal fold sound, and if done correctly and done tastefully, it can actually sound pretty nice.
So just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance.
And it gives more variation to our singing tone. So one of the easier ways for us to achieve the stiff vocal fold sound is actually to add a H in front of the vowels that we are singing. So for example, if we wanted to sing an E vowel, we just need to add a H sound or an aspirate sound at the front. So just instead of saying E, we say he. So remember, for guys, it's much easier when you sing up high. So he. And just imagining that the breath is coming out like a mist, and it's like enveloping the whole vowel. He, ah, ooh. Or even saying words like hey or hi. So these are words to help to trigger the stiff vocal fold sound or the falsetto sounds, or just even sighing.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
These will help you to be able to explore how to create the stiff vocal fold sound and what sort of a sensation you would feel in your throat, and also how much air you would need when doing stiff vocal folds or falsetto sounds. So most people will feel that when you're doing falsetto or we're doing stiff vocal fold sound, we actually end up using more air. So when we're doing you may find that you run out of air very fast. So the reason for this is because the air is just escaping through your vocal folds. You're not really controlling the amount of air that's coming out, and the vocal folds aren't really touching, so the air is just escaping. So if you were to do other tones like thick vocal folds and thin vocal folds, then you won't have this problem. You would not be running out of air so much and so quickly. And for guys, again, as I mentioned, go up in pitch, don't stay low in pitch, because it's very difficult for you to keep that stiff vocal fold feeling down low. It's much easier if you did a range that's closer to a girl's range. So do it up high. E, ah, ooh. And you'll find it much easier to find that stiff vocal fold sound. Alright, so today's video marks the end of our exploration of vocal tones. So in previous videos, we've done slack vocal folds, we've done thick and thin vocal folds, and today's video was about stiff vocal folds. And so I hope you can combine all this knowledge together, and we can then look at how to sing a song using these different kinds of vocal tones. So I will see you in the next video.